Welcome students. So in this video we'll see again important questions from part B and part C. So in previous video I had taken these two sections, but all the questions were from part 1 textbook. So in this video we'll see important questions from part 2 textbook. So students, if you like this video and feel it is helpful, so please share with your friends and ask them to subscribe. So as you remember, in last video I had told, if you take part B and part C section, if you take part B and part C section, so totally 10 plus 15 you will be able to get 25 marks. So you will be able to get 25 marks from these two sections. Now, in part B, you are required to answer 5 out of 9, and even in part C, you are required to answer 5 out of 9. Now, if you see the blueprint which the board has released, if you do part 1 textbook perfect, that is from units and measurement to gravitation. So here I have written from part 1 textbook there will be 4 questions of 3 marks. So there will be 4 questions of 3 marks and 5 questions of 2 marks. Means you will be able to touch 2 marks all the 5 questions. So if you do part 1 perfect, part 1 textbook perfect, so 3 marks you will be able to touch 4 questions, while 2 marks you will be able to touch all the 5 questions. Now as a precaution, sometimes you may feel 1 or 2 questions difficult. So you are required to do few questions from a part 2 textbook. So here if you see from part 2 textbook, there will be total 5 questions of 3 marks. That is 4 from part 1, 5 from part 2. So total it will be 9. Similarly, 2 marks if you see, 5 questions will be from part 1 textbook, 4 will be from part 2. Therefore total it will be 9. Now here below I have written, if you perfect part 1 textbook, you are required to just touch 1 questions from part 2. So precautionary, just you do 2 or 3 topics from part 2 for 2 marks and 3 marks. So ಬರೇ ಒಂದು 3 ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಅಥವಾ 4 ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಒಳಗಿಂದ 2 marks 3 marks ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, ನಿಮ್ದು 5 out of 9 ಟಚ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾವ. 2 marks ಮತ್ತೆ 3 marks ಎರಡೂನು ಟಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಾವ. For MCQ and fill in the blanks, you are required to do all the sections. Fill in the blanks ಅಂತೂ ಈಸಿ ಇರ್ತದ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮೇಲೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇರ್ತಾವ, you should recognize and fill it. MCQs you are required to do all the topics. Now as in previous video I have combined both 2 marks and 3 marks. ಎರಡೂನ ಕಂಬೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟೇನೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಾಲಿಡ್ಸ್. So idrolage hardly there are 9 definitions, 3 in stress, 3 in strain and 3 in modulus of elasticity. So you go through all those 9 definitions. Other than that, what is elastic limit, Hooke's law, Poisson's ratio, stress strain curve. So if you go through these, it's more than sufficient, you will be able to touch. So if you observe this 7th question, define Young's modulus, shear modulus and bulk modulus or modulus of rigidity. So I have given it as defined. In model question paper, he has asked to distinguish between. Avತರ ನಡು ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಯಾನ. ಸೊ ಅವತರ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಬರೀರಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಂಗ ಆಯ್ತು. Indirectly define ಅನ್ನೋ ಬದಲಿ he has asked to distinguish between these 3 modulus, that is Young's modulus, shear modulus and bulk modulus. Similarly, second topic ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಅದು ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಫ್ಲೂಯಿಡ್ಸ್, ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡನ್, ಆಲ್ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕೆಪ್ಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಥ್ರಸ್ಟ್, ಪ್ರೆಷರ್, ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ ಲೈನ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಟರ್ಬುಲೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋ, SI unit and dimensional formula of pressure. So state Pascal's law and any device which works on this. What is hydrostatic paradox? Distinguish between streamline flow and turbulent flow. So state Bernoulli's theorem, write its equation. So again in model question, if you observe, he has asked question on Bernoulli's theorem. State Bernoulli's theorem, write its equation, or you can say 20-second ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ explain Bernoulli's principle ante. So on this in model question paper you will find the question. So just ಇದೇ type ಅಥವಾ combine ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾನೆ. With Bernoulli's theorem he has a combined Magnus effect. So 3 marks ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ so Magnus effect ಏನ್ ಮಾಡನ್ರಿ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ combine ಮಾಡನ್. State Bernoulli's principle, its equation, and hence define Magnus effect ante. Now in previous question paper this he has asked a lot of times, that is a dimensional formula of coefficient of viscosity. So coefficient of viscosity dimensional formula, you remember its SI unit and using that you write the dimensional formula. So state Stokes law, 1 marks ಒಳಗೆ I think ಬರ್ಬೋದು. So factors affecting surface tension. Surface tension dagindu definitions 17th ಒಳಗೆ together I have kept, that is surface tension, adhesion, cohesion and angle of contact. So just in this topic ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಉಳಿತದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಮಾಡೇನೆ, ಡಿರೈವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ಲಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಫ್ 5 marks. So even if you don't go through this it's okay. So ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾ ಡಿ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ದೊಳಗೆ ಹೇಳೇನ 5 marks ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಬರ್ತಾವ ಅನ್ನೋದು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ದು ಏನಾಗ್ತದ್ರಿ 3 out of 6 ಟಚ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So you need not worry about this question. Then if you go for thermal properties of matter, define coefficient of linear expansion, area expansion, coefficient of volume expansion, thermal capacity, ಎಲ್ಲ definitions ಕೂಡ್ಸಿಟ್ಟು. So again in model question paper what he has done, he has asked relation between linear and area expansion. So he has asked relation, that is naili 8th written nodri, relation between area expansion and coefficient of linear expansion, that is beta is equal to 2 alpha, where alpha is coefficient of linear expansion. Same, that is between volume and linear, so gamma is equal to 3 alpha. So relation between these two. So define specific heat, molar specific heat, all definitions and related to those simple concepts he will be asking for 2 marks or 3 marks. So what is anomalous expansion of water? So define conduction, convection, or define coefficient of thermal conductivity, or you may say law of thermal conductivity. These two are also important, 14 and 15. That is law of thermal conductivity, coefficient of thermal conductivity. So state Boyle's law, Charles' law, Stephen's law. So here 19th question has not printed here. So it is about Wayne's law. Wayne's law, define Stephen's law, Wayne's displacement law, that he has I have written here, and Newton's law of cooling. So another one is Newton's law of cooling. So ಇಷ್ಟು questions ನೋಡ್ಕೊರಿ, more than sufficient. Now if you go for thermodynamics, so thermodynamics ಒಳಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ definitions ಅದಾವ. So 0th law, first law, second law of thermodynamics, then isothermal process, adiabatic process. Don't go through derivations, just you can go through their expressions. So because for 2 and 3 marks it's sufficient. Now zeroth law of thermodynamics, first law, second law. Then what is a Carnot engine, expression for its efficiency, and name substance used. So this is asked in model question paper, that is ninth. Even go through the PV diagram for Carnot cycle in thermodynamics. If you take oscillations, in oscillation 5 marks problem you will be having, on which already I have done a video and uploaded. For numerical you can go through it. So surely you may get numerical from oscillation. Other than that, go through all these simple definitions. So this has asked frequency, period, amplitude. So state or define simple harmonic motion, simple harmonic motion. So you can define it, or expressions. So he has asked expression for velocity, where it will be maximum and minimum. Similarly, acceleration expression you take, where it will be maximum and minimum, you can go through it. So just formulas he will be asking. So these derivations you can do for 5 marks if you want, so or 3 marks. So which is not necessity, which I feel. So state the position where acceleration is maximum, velocity is maximum, fifth and sixth. So this is asked in model question paper. Define SHM and derive expression for displacement of body executing SHM. This he may ask for 3 marks. Then similarly, you are required to write formulas for time period of a simple pendulum and spring mass system. So just if you do these questions, it's more than sufficient for 2 and 3 marks. Then similarly, if you go through the waves topic. So again here just 15 questions are there. If you do this, more than sufficient. So mechanical wave, electromagnetic wave. So you may say non-mechanical wave he has asked. Non-mechanical wave he has asked in model question paper. So crest, trough, compression, rarefaction definitions. So you are required to know relation between phase and path difference. Then beat frequency. This is important. Distinguish between a transverse wave and longitudinal waves. Then progressive wave and its equation, Newton Laplace formula, then factors affecting the speed of sound in gas, what are stationary waves. So do these all questions, it will be more than sufficient. Now students, here I have not included kinetic theory of gases. Kinetic theory of gases I have not included, because even if you leave that, you will be able to touch all the 2 marks and 3 marks. In this there will be one MCQ and one fill in the blanks. So just if you go through these from kinetic theory of gases, it is more than sufficient. ಈಗ ನಾ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ರಿ 5 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ 5 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಟಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಾವ, 3 marks 4 touch ಆಗ್ತಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ 1 ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಒಳಗೆ. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ topics you feel easy, from those topics you do all the questions perfect. So ನನಗೇನು ಅನ್ನಿಸ್ತದೆ, according to me, you do mechanical properties of solids and fluids ಇವೆರಡು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, 99% ನಿಮ್ದು 2-3 marks 5 ಟಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಾವ. Precautionary, you do extra topics, that is oscillations and waves. Oscillation and waves. So even if you do these much topics, you will be able to touch all questions from 2 and 3 marks from B and C section. So first part textbook full perfect ಮಾಡೋದು, ಇದ್ರಾಗಿಂದ limited smartly if you study, you will be able to touch all the questions. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಥರ್ಮಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಥರ್ಮೋಡೈನಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಈಸಿ ಅನಿಸ್ತದ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತಿಲ್ಲ. ವಿಚ್ ಯು ಫೀಲ್ ಈಸಿ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ. ಥರ್ಡ್, ಫಾರ್ MCQ and fill in the blanks, you are required to do all the topics. So for this you study all topics from part 1 and part 2. ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೊಳಗಿಂದ ಲೈನ್ ಟು ಲೈನ್ ಅನ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಟಚ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಐ ಕುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ give PDF of all the questions due to some problem. So here in this video I have included all the questions from part 1 part 2 PDF. So questions PDF again I have done it. I will be giving a link in a description box. You can go through it. You will get all the questions from part 1 and part 2 together. So hope it is helpful to you. So once again I request to share with all your friends, and if you have any feedback you can write it in comment box. Okay, thank you.